The twin suns of Aerith Prime glowed like molten metal across the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of amber and violet. The ceremonial arena beneath them shimmered with transparent shields that rippled in the heated air. High above, the banners of the Aerith Dominion fluttered with disciplined grace. The crowd gathered in the stands murmured in anticipation, their voices creating a low and steady hum. Today would mark a meeting of two worlds, and perhaps the beginning of something neither side expected. Princess Leora stood at the center of the arena floor, her posture tall and proud. She wore the traditional armor of her lineage, made from living crystal that seemed to shift with her heartbeat. Her light silver hair fell down her back like a cool waterfall, contrasting with the pale gold of her skin. She inhaled deeply as she watched the gates at the arena's edge. She had trained for many seasons to prepare for occasions like this. Diplomatic combat was not meant for war, but for demonstration. She would face the champions sent by the Human Federation, and through their contest, the two civilizations would measure each other's resolve. She expected strength. She expected precision. She expected a warrior raised among the stars with a history of fierce tenacity. What she did not expect was calm. Taro emerged from the gates with a quiet composure that made him look carved from stone. His dark hair was trimmed close, his posture relaxed yet firm. He wore simple gear compared to the shimmering armor of the Dominion. The chest plate was matte and utilitarian. The gauntlets were worn at the edges. His boots had seen real battlefields. He walked with a steady rhythm and placed himself a few steps across from her. The arena lowered a field of containment that glowed faint blue, offering both sides a neutral battleground. The crowd shifted as the two combatants faced one another. The princess wished to maintain unwavering dignity, but her pulse betrayed her. She felt a tremor behind her sternum, something she had not anticipated. There was nothing overwhelming in the way he looked at her. There was no intimidation, no aggression, and no arrogance. Instead, his eyes held a quiet resolve that unsettled her. A human gaze should have been easy for her to read. She had trained in diplomacy. She had studied their gestures, their expressions, their cultural nuances. But this man, this fighter, revealed nothing. His calmness was a weapon she had not trained to resist. She lifted her chin. Taro offered a small nod of respect. The gesture was simple, precise, and carried more sincerity than the elaborate bows of her own court. Advisor who presided over the event lifted his voice with ceremonial tone. Princess Leora of the Aerith Dominion and Taro of the Human Federation, stand ready. Let the exchange of strength begin. The sound of the gong echoed, and the match commenced. Leora inhaled. Her fingers curled around the handles of her dual blades. The living crystal thrummed with latent energy. She stepped forward, ready to make the first move. Taro did not raise his weapon. That alone rattled her more than any strike. She launched herself with a controlled leap, her blades tracing arcs of shimmering light as she cut through the air. The crowd gasped at the graceful speed of her motion. Taro shifted his stance with minimal movement, sidestepping her attack rather than blocking it. She landed, twisted, and struck again. His arm lifted at the exact moment her blade aligned with his chest. He redirected her strike with the flat of his gauntlet, sending her momentum to the side. Her crystal blade hummed in irritation from the unexpected contact. Leora steadied her breathing. One strike, then another. She varied her angles. She tested his reactions. She drove him backward across the arena with a fluid series of movements that had put seasoned warriors on their heels. But every time she believed she had found an opening, Taro closed it without force. He moved like someone who had spent years eliminating waste. No flourish. No showing off. Just quiet and efficient skill. She felt heat rising in her cheeks, an emotion she struggled to acknowledge. Was it frustration? Admiration? Unease? The crowd murmured again. Some watched her technique. Others whispered about the human's restraint. Liara's heartbeat quickened. She forced her face to remain neutral. Taro stepped back and finally reached for his own weapon. It was a compact baton that extended with a mechanical click. The end glowed with faint electric charge, meant for training bouts rather than harm. He tested its weight once and then settled into a defensive stance. The air between them tightened. She moved again, but this time he met her blade with a deliberate strike. The clash sent a ring across the arena floor. She felt the vibration travel through her arms. Taro's strength was not showcased in forceful swings, but in grounded stability. Every block held steady, like he had rooted himself to the ground. Liara spun around him, her armor glinting. She changed patterns, shifting from wide attack arcs to sudden thrusts. He matched her pace every time. Their weapons connected, parted, then connected again in rapid rhythm. The duel grew more intense. Their movements became a blur of shifting light and sound, drawing the attention of every spectator. Liara knew she had to maintain control of her breathing. But every moment she faced him, every time he moved with that composed precision, she felt both challenged and intrigued. His calmness was different from the solemnity of her own warriors. It did not come from duty, but something else. Something inward and quiet and unshakable. At last their weapons locked. Her dual blades pressed hard against his baton. Sparks from the crystal energy danced at the contact point. He met her eyes. She tried to hold her calm, but something flashed inside her. She felt a tremor slip through her, visible only in the quick spark of her pupils. Taro saw it. She knew he saw it. Yet he said nothing. He simply held her gaze and waited for her next move. She pulled away quickly, attempting to recenter her stance. The princess had trained her entire life to maintain serenity, even in high tension. Yet this one human fighter pushed her toward a feeling she had not known before. Not fear, not defeat. Something far more personal. Something she struggled to name. The duel continued. Momentum shifted between them like the tide. The arena shields flickered in response to each collision. She felt warmth building in her limbs, a familiar burning that signaled the high end of her stamina. She needed to test him further, push him into motion rather than letting him stay defensive. She dashed forward with renewed determination. Taro blocked her first strike, but had to step back on the second. She pressed. Her blades moved faster. His baton deflected one, then the other. But she saw it. A fraction of a second. A gap. Not in his stance, but in the flow of the duel. She twisted her body, redirecting all momentum into a final strike, aimed at his shoulder. Taro reacted instantly. He dropped his weapon and caught her wrist in one hand. The movement was swift, controlled, and without malice. Her entire attack halted, as if the world had stopped moving. His grip held firm but gentle. Her blade hovered harmlessly above his shoulder. The arena went silent. No one expected the duel to end with such quiet finality. Liara felt warmth rush through her, not from exertion, but from the closeness of his hold. She willed her heart to slow, but it would not obey. He held her wrist only long enough to show she had been stopped, then released her. She stepped back, lowering her blades. Her breathing was slightly unsteady. She forced herself to stand straight again. The advisor raised his voice. Match concluded. Victory goes to Taro of the Human Federation. The crowd reacted in mixed waves. Some expressed awe at the human's restraint. Others murmured in confusion. Liara bowed her head politely. Losing was not dishonor. She had fought well. But the tremor in her chest did not fade. After the duel ended, both combatants exited through separate gates. Liara moved quickly down the corridor beneath the arena, her footsteps echoing against crystal walls. She tried to calm her breathing, but her mind was spinning with questions. She reached the private chamber reserved for her after ceremonies. The living walls responded to her presence, adjusting the light and temperature. She placed her blades on a stand and removed her armor, revealing a soft fabric underlayer. Her hands were slightly unsteady. She wanted clarity. She wanted explanation. Instead, she felt the lingering impression of his calm gaze. A soft chime sounded. She turned as the door opened, and the advisor entered. "Princess Leora," he said, bowing. "Taro has requested a post-match meeting, if you will allow it." Leora's breath caught. She forced composure into her voice. "Send him in." When Taro stepped inside, he carried no weapon and no armor. Only the calm presence that had disarmed her far more than his grip ever could. She faced him with regal posture. "You fought with precision," she said. "And discipline." He nodded. "You fought with heart. And clarity." She did not know why his words struck her so deeply. She tried to stay poised. "May I ask something?" he said. "You may." "During the match, there was a moment your breathing changed. Was it strain? Or hesitation?" She stiffened. "It was neither," she said. "I do not hesitate." He studied her expression carefully, but not rudely. She felt as if he had already understood something she had not yet admitted to herself. "You were not defeated," Taro said quietly. "You were surprised." The truth struck her with unexpected force. She looked away for a moment. That alone was uncharacteristic. Alien royalty did not avert their gaze. "You did not fight like the warriors I have trained against," she said. "Your calmness was disarming." His expression softened. "Then we learned something from each other." She felt the tremor in her chest again. She drew a slow breath. "Human fighter," she said. "Your resolve is unlike anything I have encountered." "And your spirit is unlike anyone I have met," he replied. She stepped closer without meaning to. The air shifted lightly between them. The advisor appeared again at the doorway. "Princess, the Federation envoy is requesting your presence. They wish to continue diplomatic discussions." She nodded. "I will attend shortly." Taro bowed. "Until next time." She watched him leave. The tremor stayed with her long after he was gone. The days that followed brought waves of diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and trade discussions. Yet no matter what room she entered, she felt herself listening for footsteps she recognized. By the third day, she admitted to herself that the duel had meant more to her than a ceremonial match. Taro, for his part, spoke respectfully among the Dominion officials. He answered questions about human martial training, human technology, and human philosophy. His calm presence drew attention everywhere he went. Some Aerith viewed him with curiosity, others with caution, but none denied the quiet strength he carried. Leora encountered him again during a joint demonstration near the palace gardens. The demonstration involved advanced gravity manipulation technology. When one of the devices malfunctioned and threw a wave of distortion across the courtyard, she reacted instantly, reaching for a stabilizer rod. But before she could lift it, Taro was already beside her, steadying the device and anchoring it with calculated force. His hand brushed hers for only a second, yet she felt the warmth of that touch linger. "You move swiftly," she said. "You move bravely," he replied. Her calm nearly broke again. Over the next several days, they found themselves meeting in unexpected corridors, observing joint training sessions, and sharing brief words that carried more weight than formal speeches ever could. Liara fought quietly within herself to maintain the serenity expected of her. But Taro sensed what she tried to hide. One evening, as the sun set behind the crystalline spires of the palace, they met at a balcony overlooking the city. The sky was a deep violet. The air carried the scent of cooling stone. "You are troubled," he said gently. She clasped her hands behind her back. "I am composed." "Then your composure has a heartbeat," he replied. She closed her eyes for a moment. "I do not understand why I cannot remain calm around you," she admitted. "You are unlike anyone I have faced." "And you are unlike anyone I have known," he said. The words hung between them like a suspended breath. Leora met his gaze fully. For the first time, she did not try to hide the truth within her. Her voice was soft. "When I faced you in the arena, I fought to stay calm. Not from fear, but from recognition." "What did you recognize?" he asked. "Humans carry a strength beyond physical skill," she said. "A strength that reaches inward. A strength that challenges my spirit." Taro stepped closer. "And what do you feel now?" She inhaled. "Unsteady," she whispered. "And alive." Tara's expression warmed with quiet understanding. "Then maybe," he said, "our worlds are meant to learn more than diplomacy from each other." The twin suns dipped below the horizon. The violet sky deepened into soft indigo. The palace lights shimmered like stars across the cityscape. Leora stood beside the human who had shaken her calm and awakened something deeper. She no longer fought the tremor within her chest. She accepted it, for in facing the human fighter, she had discovered not defeat, but connection. Not weakness, but a new strength. A strength that might one day reshape both their worlds.